Welcome, everyone, to the MLB Draft Lottery presented by Nike. For the third year in a row, MLB Network brings you exclusive coverage of an event that shapes the future for so many of these Major League Baseball organizations. We are about to find out over the next 30 minutes who will get the #1 overall pick in the 2025 MLB Draft. Here in Dallas, Texas, it's Greg Amsinger with my guys, Mark DeRosa, our resident GM, Dan O'Dowd. Year one for D-Row on the draft lottery. You fired up for this?
Are they picking the 7th round in this one?
No, that's your round.
There's steals down there.
I know, like a certain guy we all know.
Let it go.
This is a big night, Dan. Big night.
It really shapes the future of our game, Greg. You said it so well. And it all starts tonight. It's really cool.
Let's take a look at some of the draft lottery notes. To keep in mind, all 30 organizations are not in the room at the moment. No, it's 18. It includes 18 teams that did not qualify for the 2024 postseason. Now, the first 6 picks in the draft are awarded to clubs via the lottery. The remaining teams after the first 6 picks will draft in reverse order based on their 2024 winning percentage. 2 teams share equal odds of receiving the first overall pick in the upcoming MLB Draft, and that belongs to the Rockies and the Marlins. They each have 22.5% odds of getting the #1 overall pick. After that, it's the Angels, then the Nationals. The Jays at 7.5%. The Pirates, Reds, Rangers, Giants. You see the rest of the teams on your screen. Dan O'Dowd, if I'm a viewer, I'm in my living room right now, what am I paying attention to here?
Well, again, you really need to pay attention to what happened a year ago, where when you had the Guardians and the Reds that were down in that draft and got pulled up to 1 and 2. So this is full of suspense. Like, you just don't know, as this board pulls up, where the Giants and the Cardinals are this year, that's where the Guardians and the Reds were a year ago. So, you just don't know how this is going to play out. 1.9%, 0.8% ended up picking at the top of the draft.
Now, explain to, you see the numbers on your screen, the value, the actual draft pot of money that you get severely impacted.
Yeah, it's not just really where you get picked. It's the bonus pool of money that comes with that, especially in light of the NIL and what's happening in college baseball. Really, every penny's going to count next year in the draft. So the higher you get, the more money you have to work with, the more competitive advantage you have going into the draft.
Explain to our audience why the White Sox and the A's aren't going to be among the top 6.
Well, the White Sox knew going into the year they would not be. #1, they picked in the draft last year as a lottery pick. #2, they're a large market payee club into revenue sharing, so they weren't eligible at all, so they're going to pick 10th. The A's, conversely, had picked the 2 previous years in the lottery slot, so they were not eligible as a pay-or club in revenue sharing for this particular year.
Whoever gets the #1 overall pick, it's going to be a huge win. And there's a familiar last name that's towards the top of the MLB.com prospect rankings, Ethan Holliday.
Yeah, it's Ethan Holliday. There's a stud fee out for Matt and Leslie Holliday out in Oklahoma. Obviously, I mean, Jackson came up to the big leagues with flying colors and is starting to figure it out. And his brother, Ethan Holliday, bigger body, Dan, more upside pop-wise.
Yeah, it looked like it's really going to fill, too. Similar type player, great awareness. You really can project on him, D-Row.
And it's a terrific class of young talent. We've got a terrific group of team representatives with us here tonight. I want to introduce you to some of them. We're going to start with the Athletics, a former all-star shortstop representing that club here tonight. Jed Lowry, 2018 all-star with the A's. He played 14 MLB seasons overall. Dan Wilson is representing the Seattle Mariners. He's the current manager of that club. They really played spirited baseball after he took over in the second half last year. Representing the St. Louis Cardinals, it's their assistant GM and director of scouting. Randy Flores is with us here tonight. Our colleague representing the Boston Red Sox, former Cy Young Award winner, but who helped win the Fall Classic in 2013 with the Sox. Jake Peavy is in the room. The current general manager of the San Francisco Giants, Zach Manassian, is also with us. He was named GM November 1st of this year. One of my favorite players growing up is representing the Cincinnati Reds. Eric Davis, the senior advisor to President of Baseball Operations and GM, played 9 seasons with the Reds. Representing the Toronto Blue Jays, Vernon Wells, 12 seasons with the Jays, starting in 1999, top 5 in organizational history in so many different categories. Representing the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, it's the Angels assistant general manager, David Haynes, is with us. A good friend of our network, Clint Hurdle, is representing the Colorado Rockies. He's the special assistant to the general manager, managed the Rockies from 2002 to 2009. Representing the Miami Marlins, Charles Johnson played 7 seasons with the Fish starting in 1994. First player the Marlins ever drafted. That was back in 1992. Representing the Washington Nationals, a guy that played 2 seasons in D.C., Matt Adams, part of the Nationals' 2019 World Championship team. Longtime catcher of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Jason Kendall, is representing the guys from Pittsburgh. He was behind the plate catching games starting in 1996 with the Buccos. Representing the Texas Rangers, their longtime second baseman, Ian Kinsler. He's now the Rangers special assistant to the general manager. A former Rangers GM, now the senior advisor to baseball ops for the Tampa Bay Rays, John Daniels. Good to see him. He's with us here tonight in the room. Long-time reliever, now representing the Minnesota Twins here tonight for the draft lottery, is LaTroy Hawkins. He's the team's special assistant to baseball operations. We've got royalty in the room. Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins is representing the Chicago Cubs. 10 seasons with the Cubbies. He was inducted into Cooperstown in 1991. Longtime catcher of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Miguel Montero, is representing the Snakes here tonight. He's the special assistant of player development currently with the club. And another Hall of Famer, our colleague representing the Chicago White Sox, Jim Thome, who's a special assistant to the senior VP and GM of the Sox. Now, we have a lot of excitement for our MC tonight. We have a current big leaguer. He finished second in the American League in the Rookie of the Year race. 24 home runs, led all rookies in the AL. This is a special talent, defensively versatile. We're about to find out how versatile he is. He's standing by with Mark DeRosa.
All right, thanks, Greg. All right, I'm here with Colton Cowser. Last year it was Brad Paisley. I mean, do you have a shtick to follow suit this year?
Hey, they reached out. I think they were wanting more of a personality hire this year, and they're rolling with me.
You got a theater background. You seem to get the fans involved. They're all wearing cow suits to the yard, Camden Yards. You're the milkman. Are you comfortable in this environment?
Oh, yeah. Well, I would say this is a little bit different of a live broadcast than I've ever been a part of. Usually I'm on the field, but, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I don't mess up too much. And I asked for an opening monologue. They said no, so we're just going to have to roll and see what I'm able to do.
All right, take me back to your draft experience. 2021, we were talking before we came out here. You weren't drafted out of high school, and then 3 years later, you're a top 5 pick. Was that the expectation going into draft night?
Yeah, not really, honestly. There was, kind of some murmurs when I went out for a couple of pre-draft workouts for picks 5, 6, 7, about a week before the draft, and then my agent said, hey, if you were to go at one of these spots, it'd be for an underslot deal, but I was kind of projected between that 12 to 15 range, and lucky enough the Orioles took a chance on me there, and yeah, here we are.
Well, it worked out for the Orioles. Are you going to rig the system tonight and try and get Baltimore a nice pick?
I was thinking about it. I was going to bring a piece of paper and tape it on, maybe pick like 1 or 2. Just, oh no, how'd that happen? 0% chance, and then it happened, but no, I think it's going to be a fun event. I know last year things got shaken up a little bit with some of the percentage chances, and then Cleveland ends up getting number 1. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
All right, enjoy it. I'm looking forward to watching you.
MLB Draft Lottery is presented by Nike.
And welcome back to the MLB Draft Lottery presented by Nike. There you see PricewaterhouseCoopers U.S. private leader Sean Hansen walking the envelopes with each team's card to Colton Cowser of the Orioles at the podium as he gets ready to do his job as MC here tonight for the Draft Lottery. Now, earlier today, MLB manager baseball operations Jack Clark was on hand to individually select the ping pong balls that determine the final draft order. There you see Jack. Fun process. All right, now it's time to start the lottery, folks. So without further ado, here's Orioles outfielder Colton Cowser.
All righty. With the 18th pick in the 2025 MLB Draft, the Arizona Diamondbacks.
All right, so it's the Diamondbacks with the 18th pick. Arizona took high school outfielder Slade Caldwell, 29th overall last year. With their top pick, it's Arizona at number 18.
With the 17th pick, the Chicago Cubs.
The Cubs land the 17th pick. Now, the Chicago Cubs selected Cam Smith with the 14th selection last year out of Florida State. So it's the Diamondbacks at 18, then the Cubs at 17.
With the 16th pick, the Minnesota Twins.
Last year, the Twins took Kayleen Culpepper with the 21st overall selection.
With the 15th pick, the Boston Red Sox.
Peeve, I was expecting more out of you. Last year, Boston took outfielder Brandon Montgomery out of Texas A&M with the 12th overall pick.
With the 14th pick, the Tampa Bay Rays.
So the Rays get the 14th overall pick. It's the highest the Rays will be selecting since they took Brendan McKay, 4th overall out of Louisville, back in 2017.
With the 13th overall pick, the San Francisco Giants.
13 must be the Giants' lucky number because this is the second year in a row they picked 13th.
With the 12th overall pick, the Texas Rangers.
It's the Rangers with the 12th pick. Texas drafted catcher Malcolm Moore with the 30th overall pick last year out of Stanford.
With the 11th overall pick, the Athletics.
The A's land the 11th pick. The A's were ineligible for the lottery this year after taking Jacob Wilson, 6th overall in 2023, and Nick Kurtz, 4th overall last year.
With the 10th overall pick, the Chicago White Sox.
Again, as a reminder, the White Sox were not eligible for this year's lottery, and last year they took Hagen Smith, 5th overall at the University of Arkansas.
With the 9th overall pick, the Cincinnati Reds.
This will be the 3rd straight draft the Reds select in the top 10 after taking Rhett Lauder, 7th overall in 23, and Chase Burns, 2nd overall last year.
With the 8th overall pick, the Toronto Blue Jays.
Toronto will draft in the top 10 for only the second time in the last 10 years. They took Austin Martin, 5th overall in 2020.
With the 7th overall pick, the Miami Marlins.
Wow, the Marlins. There's heartbreak in Miami. They get the number 7 pick. The Marlins were tied with the Rockies for the best odds to get the number 1 overall pick. But they fall to number 7. That is a bummer. That's the reality of the draft lottery. Now, it's a process of elimination. So the teams that have not heard their name, if you're a fan of one of these clubs, you are in the mix. You have a chance to land the number 1 overall pick selection in the upcoming draft. Welcome back to the 2024 MLB Draft Lottery presented by Nike. Once again, we're down to the last 6 teams that are in play for the number 1 pick. We've counted down from 18 all the way to number 6. These are the clubs that are in play. It is an organizational changing moment to get the number 1 pick. Let's resume the MLB Draft Lottery. Back to our MC, Colton Cowser. Take it away.
With the 6th overall pick, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
The Buccos are at number 6. This will be the 6th straight season the Pirates are drafting in the top 10, including number 1 overall picks Henry Davis in 2021 and the great Paul Skeens in 2023.
With the 5th overall pick, the St. Louis Cardinals.
Cardinals are right now a big winner in the draft. They started this night at 13th, and they've jumped all the way to 5. So the Cardinals really came out of this well. This is the first surprise.
With the 4th overall pick, The Colorado Rockies.
The Rockies can't be happy about this. They were tied with the Marlins for the best odds to get the top pick. Fall to number 4, Dan.
Ouch.
With the 3rd overall pick, the Seattle Mariners.
I mean, the Mariners hotel suite right now, I know they're like, maybe we could get number 1. Number 3 is huge. They're a huge winner tonight. The Mariners had the 15th best odds for the top pick, and here they are at number 3. Wow. All right, before we reveal number 2 and number 1, guys, this is big. Dan, this is heartbreaking for a couple organizations, am I right?
Man, when you go through painful seasons, you know, one of the rewards are you get to pick at the top of the draft, and the Marlins and the Rockies both went into this having the highest percentage. And it just goes to show you how much luck now is involved in this process, and it really does not reward you when you go through tough seasons.
I think about the Angels right now and the Nationals. The Nationals have had the number 1 pick 2 times recently, and they didn't miss.
No, they did not.
Strasburg and Bryce Harper. So game-changing player could be coming to either organization right now.
On pins and needles, I think, is an understatement. We are moments away from finding out who will get the number 1 overall pick. Back to Colton Cowser we go.
All righty, here we go. With the 2nd overall pick in the 2025 MLB Draft, the Los Angeles Angels, which makes the number 1 overall pick, the Washington Nationals.
Wow, Matt Adams, you delivered.
He always delivers. Big city.
It's for the 3rd time in franchise history, like D-Rose said, the Nats have the number 1 pick. Yes, they landed Steven Strasburg in 2009, Bryce Harper in 2010. The Angels with the number 2 overall pick after winning 63 games last season. It's the highest the Angels have selected since they took Darren Erstad, number 1 overall in 1995. Dan, this is huge for the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, especially with the young core they currently have in place. Now they're going to add another potential impact player into the mix. I mean, honestly, all the top 6 teams, Greg, are going to get really, really good players in this year's lottery. But, I mean, the Nats now have an opportunity to do something pretty special.
Look at Mike Rizzo. Matt Adams just got a raise, by the way.
He just got promoted.
Oh, my goodness. Mike Rizzo, all smiles. The Nationals have landed the number 1 pick thanks to the MLB Draft Lottery. The big news here tonight. But is it the biggest? Jeff Passan with this. Breaking news. Max Fried and the Yankees in agreement on an 8-year, $218 million deal pending physical. It's the largest guarantee in baseball history for a left-handed pitcher. The MLB Draft Lottery presented by Nike has concluded. The Washington Nationals get the number 1 pick. At a little over 10% odds of landing that pick, and they come through. It's their lucky day. The Angels, number 2, M's 3. Rockies, who had the best odds with the Marlins at number 4. You see the Nationals, they've got a rich history, and pretty recent, in drafting number 1 overall. Bryce Harper, Steven Strasburg, 2009, 2010. The guy that did that, Mike Rizzo, joins us now live on MLB Network. Mike, congratulations. Now, do you have to take Matt Adams out to a steak dinner? How does this work?
There's no doubt. It was a good find in the lobby by Matt Adams. And, he was a member of the 19 World Champ team, and we're glad that he's the one who pulled the number.
You're a scout by heart. I mean, you couldn't miss with the likes of Bryce Harper and Steven Strasburg. What goes into the number 1 pick? I know you're vetting a bunch of guys, but what do you look for, Mike?
It's obviously skills and tools are important, but you have to delve deeper into it. There's a lot of pressure on the 1-1 and going into this thing. This is my fourth 1-1 pick of my career, and you're looking for character guys that can play the game and fit seamlessly into the organization, culture-wise, development-wise, and you're going for the most impactful player that you could find.
Mike, you also get the largest bonus pool to work with in our game today. That's significant. So how do you now begin to look at the strategy of going into your draft year?
Well, it's about asset allocation and getting the best bang for your buck at each and every round that you can participate. And there's a lot of strategy goes into it. Like you said, you're just not picking each round, giving them the slot. You're doing things that you have to we'll figure out a strategy on which way we're going to go. We're in capable hands with Danny Haas and Brad and Reed Dunn and those guys, so we feel good about where we're at.
So Strasburg and Harper. Who was the other one now?
Justin Upton. With
those three picks, Mike, did you learn anything from each of those selections that kind of lend itself a little bit more to be able to help the guys that are actually going to be making those decisions and evaluations?
Yeah, I think that what I've learned from those picks is that don't get too ultra focused on one player in one draft season. Have a wide scope and really scour the country and especially with the draft pools being so large and allocating money differently, you can really do some interesting thing and impact your draft throughout the entire.
So real quick, are you I'm taking the best player guy, or am I taking a good player to make sure then I can take other good players down below? Like, where do you fall on that spectrum?
Well, I'm most impactful guy I usually take, but we'll have the discussion with Danny Haas and his people and see if we can come to some kind of agreement.
Timing is everything, but where your club is right now, ready to explode, ready to emerge with so many young players, you could conceivably take a quick to the big leagues player at number 1 overall because the timeline would match your club at the moment.
Yeah, it's so interesting and intriguing on so many different levels. We can a lot of different ways we can go. We're obviously very excited about where we're at. We've got a good system in place right now. Getting the first pick is just going to add to that and add value to our organization. And we will, we're extremely excited. We're lucky, and we don't want to be in this position ever again.
Matt Adams gets to pick any bottle of wine he wants. He did a great job for you. Mike Rizzo getting the number 1 pick for Dan O'Dowd, Mark DeRosa. My name's Greg Amsinger.